Sometimes it feels like parenting these days, especially in the 21st century. Well, it's like the instruction manual just keeps changing, right? Every week there's something new.
Oh, absolutely.
Navigating social media, figuring out screen time, and all that pressure we feel to, get it right. It's a lot.
It really is. You're sort of caught between who you want to be as a parent, that ideal, and then just the day-to-day reality, the chaos.
Exactly. Well, today that's precisely what we're diving into, that tension. We've got some really great sources lined up. First, some pretty profound wisdom from an anthology with Andy Stanley,
Mm-hmm.
and then a super practical guide from Pitable that looks at modern parenting challenges and gives actual solutions, things you can, do.
Yeah, and our mission here really is to try and cut through some of that noise,
Yeah.
all the conflicting advice out there. We want to pull out the key insights.
The nuggets, yeah.
Exactly. To help you bridge that gap we were talking about between the ideal and the real, we'll look at foundational mindsets, but also very practical, actionable stuff for raising kids today.
Perfect. So let's get ready to unpack some ideas that I think can really make a difference in how you approach family life wherever you are on that journey.
Sounds good.
Okay, let's start with building that foundation. We're drawing from the Parenting in the 21st Century anthology series, the one featuring Andy Stanley.
Right.
It talks about turning to an unexpected place for guidance on really tricky things, discipline, divorce, all that heavy stuff. And honestly, there are some surprising takeaways.
There really are. And it kicks off with this idea in part one, real versus ideal, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Well, as parents, it's natural, right? We point our kids towards an ideal, who they could be, maybe we hope they'll be. But the insight here is that while you're aiming for that ideal, you also have to, skillfully navigate what's real right now, today. It's about finding that balance, that active balance between the dream and the messy reality of childhood, acknowledging both.
That makes a ton of sense, because if you're only locked onto the ideal, you're just fighting reality constantly, aren't you?
It's exhausting.
And then part two talks about a benchmark. It poses this kind of long-term dream that your kids, when they're adults, will actually want to come home regularly.
Such a powerful image, isn't it?
It really is. It makes you pause and think about the long game.
Hmm.
But okay, how do we actually get there? In the middle of homework and tantrums and everything else, what's the first step according to the anthology?
Well, connecting it to the bigger picture, part 3, honor code, gives us a big piece of that puzzle. It highlights how, when our kids mess up, our first instinct might be punishment, taking something away.
Yeah, that's often the go-to.
But the shift the anthology pushes for is realizing punishment shouldn't be the end goal. Restoration should be.
Restoration. Okay.
Yeah, so that completely changes how you respond. Instead of just, okay, here's your consequence, boom, done. It's about rebuilding trust. It's about teaching. It's about bringing them back into the relationship. And that kind of approach, focusing on restoring the connection
Yeah.
rather than just the punishment,
Uh-huh.
well, that's what builds the kind of environment where they'll actually want to come home later on.
That really shifts the whole focus, doesn't it? From just fixing the behavior to fixing the relationship.
Precisely.
Okay, and speaking of messing up, let's talk about part 4. It's called A Walk in a Hard Place. And yes, you heard that right, WOCK.
Yeah. The typo is intentional, it seems.
Right. It kind of implies maybe a more flexible spot parents find themselves in, maybe less rigid than a rock. The point it makes is that if a parent's main goal is only about getting obedience, well, they might be setting themselves up to fail. So if just getting kids to obey isn't the ultimate win, what is? What's this different long-term target that helps parents actually win?
Okay, this is where it gets really fascinating, I think. The anthology suggests winning isn't just about outward compliance, not just doing what they're told.
Okay.
If you tie it back to that idea of restoration and the benchmark of kids wanting to come home, the real target isn't perfect obedience today. It's about cultivating something inside the child,
Yeah.
an internal moral compass.
Ah, okay.
It's about shaping their character, fostering a genuine desire for connection, for honorable behavior,
Yep.
not just, conforming because they're afraid of getting in trouble. It's about empowering them to choose the right thing, not just do the right thing because they have to.
Wow, that's a much deeper goal.
It really is.
Yeah.
So if you pull those 4 parts together from Andy Stanley real versus ideal, the benchmark, the honor code, and this walk idea, what you get is this really robust foundation, a mindset for parenting.
Right. Less about tactics, more about strategy.
Exactly. It guides your overall approach. It gives you a fresh perspective on what your core objectives should even be, moving beyond just getting through the day to building something that lasts.
Okay, that foundational mindset is crucial. It's like the compass. But then you actually have to navigate the modern world, right? With all its specific challenges.
Daily grind, yeah.
What happens when those big ideas meet, Instagram and screen time battles and feeling like you're never doing enough? That's where our second source comes in, Parenting in the 21st Century, Challenges and Practical Solutions.
And this one gets really practical really fast.
Good. We need practical.
So let's start with challenge 1, the overwhelming influence of social media. We all see it. The specific challenges are things like, well, exposure to stuff you don't want them seeing, the constant comparison trap.
Ugh, yes. The pressure to conform.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And cyberbullying, unfortunately. Online harassment, it's real. But the solutions offered are about empowerment, not just locking everything down.
Okay, like what?
First, setting clear boundaries. Things like screen time limits, yes, but also which platforms are okay and which aren't. Creating a predictable digital space. Second, using parental control software. There are lots of options out there to help manage access and filter content.
Makes sense.
Third, and this is key, actively educating them about online safety. Talking about privacy, what not to share, digital footprints, maybe even role-playing scenarios so they know how to react. Fourth, fostering open communication.
Yeah.
Making sure they feel safe telling you if something weird or bad happens online.
That trust is so important.
Absolutely. And finally, modeling healthy social media use yourself. Because let's be honest, they watch everything we do.
That last one always gets me. Okay, so that's social media. What about just general safety? That brings us to challenge 2. Safety concerns and increased anxiety. I think a lot of parents feel this.
Definitely.
The challenges aren't just physical dangers anymore, right? It's digital dangers too. Plus, just the constant stream of alarming news can really ramp up anxiety for us and for them.
It really can.
Yeah.
But the solutions here focus on empowerment and balanced awareness, like focusing on facts, getting news from balanced sources, sharing age-appropriate info without making it scarier than it needs to be.
Okay.
Practicing digital literacy is huge too. Teaching kids to spot scams, avoid talking to strangers online, use strong passwords, basic digital hygiene, really.
Right.
The guide also talks about using technology for safety, wisely. Things like GPS trackers or location sharing apps, maybe smartwatches for younger kids. They offer some oversight while you're still fostering independence, which leads to the next point, fostering independence gradually, letting them take small age-appropriate risks.
That's a hard balance to strike.
It is. And crucially, the guide mentions prioritizing parental mental health. If the anxiety is getting overwhelming for you, seek support. Counseling, support groups, whatever helps, your well-being really impacts theirs.
So true. And that ties into managing the pressure we put on ourselves, doesn't it? Challenge 3, the pressure on the perfect parent.
Oh, yeah. This one's big. It comes from just information overload, right?
Okay.
Constantly second-guessing yourself. And definitely comparing yourself to what you see other parents doing, especially on social
It's
media.
a highlight reel effect.
Exactly. The solutions here are almost liberating. First, embrace imperfection. Seriously. Realize that being a good enough parent is actually, well, good enough.
Permission to be human. I like it.
Yeah. It also suggests limiting your own social media time, or at least unfollowing accounts that make you feel inadequate. Trust your instincts more, practice gratitude, focus on what is going well, and prioritize self-care. You can't pour from an empty cup, right? Plus, modeling self-care is a great lesson for your kids.
Oh, absolutely. That perfect parent pressure is so real. You scroll through feeds and it looks like everyone else has it all figured out.
Well, you're just trying to find matching socks.
Pretty much. And that point about self-care links right into challenge 4. The struggle for work-life balance. This feels almost universal.
Doesn't it?
The challenges are obvious.
Yeah.
Juggling work, home, kids, and that constant nagging guilt, maybe, that you're not spending enough quality time with them.
Yeah, the guilt is huge. The solutions offered are about being intentional, setting clear boundaries between work time and family time, delegating tasks to your partner, older kids, or even outsourcing things like cleaning or meal prep if you can.
Making time for what matters.
Right. And using the quality time you do have effectively, making it meaningful. Family meals without phones, game nights, getting outdoors together. Practicing basic time management helps too, like using shared calendars, and advocating for flexible work arrangements if that's an option.
Makes sense. And this is where the source mentions practical helps too, right?
Yes, exactly. So the guide itself, being from Pedipole, naturally highlights how convenience services can be a real game changer here. They talk about things like ready-to-eat meal kits or prepared food services, including, their own offerings, which are wholesome, customizable, no preservatives. The point is, these kinds of solutions can save parents hours each week. Hours they'd otherwise spend cooking and cleaning up.
Time you could spend connecting.
Precisely. It directly tackles that guilt about not having enough time by freeing up those precious hours for family bonding. Story time, helping with homework, just being present without the stress of dinner looming. It makes quality time more achievable.
Got it. That's a very tangible solution.
And finally, challenge 5, the pervasiveness of screen time, another constant battleground for many families.
Tell me about it.
The challenges are pretty clear. Just too much screen time overall, trying to balance the good stuff, educational, with the, less good stuff, mindless entertainment, and make sure they still get enough physical activity and real-life social interaction.
So what are the solutions here? Just say no.
Not necessarily just no. It's more about thoughtful integration. First, create a family media plan. Actual rules about when, where, how screens are used, like no screens at dinner or an hour before bed, making it a family habit, not a constant fight.
A plan sounds good. Less negotiating.
Hopefully. Second, provide engaging non-screen alternatives. Make them appealing. Puzzles, books, art supplies, outdoor games. Third, try co-viewing. Watch with them sometimes. Talk about the content. It makes it more interactive, less passive.
Interesting.
Fourth, use the screen time management tools that are built into most devices now. Apple Screen Time, Google Family Link. They help you monitor usage and set limits. And fifth, again, it comes back to us. Balance your own screen use. Model what responsible digital citizenship looks like.
Right. Lead by example. Wow, okay. So we've gone from these really deep foundational ideas from Andy Stanley about the why of parenting
The big picture view?
to these super practical, actionable steps from the Petty Bowl Guide for tackling the how of dealing with today's specific challenges. Social media, safety, that work-life juggle, screens.
It's a really powerful combination when you put them together. Gives you a kind of holistic roadmap.
It really does.
And if you sort of boil it all down, connect the dots between both sources, the core message seems to be about finding a balanced approach. That seems to be the key for parenting in the 21st century.
Balance.
It really hammers home how important open communication is, setting clear boundaries both for them and for ourselves, and maintaining realistic expectations, understanding that finding the path forward really lies in that balance.
That feels freeing, actually, the idea that it's about progress, not perfection.
Exactly.
Understanding that lets you maybe celebrate the small wins and actually
Yes.
cherish the journey, even with all the messiness, knowing you've got both a good mindset and some practical tools.
Yeah, absolutely. Just knowing these challenges are common and having some concrete strategies, they can make this incredibly demanding job feel, more manageable, more intentional, and hopefully more rewarding. You move from just reacting to everything to actively building something.
We really have covered a lot today, from those foundational philosophies guiding our approach, all the way to practical tips for social media, safety, work-life balance, screen time. It's been a fantastic deep dive.
It has. And maybe it raises one final question for you, the listener, to think about as you go forward. Given how fast technology and society keep changing, how can we, as parents, prepare our kids not just for the challenges we see today, but for the ones we can't even predict yet? Maybe the key is fostering resilience and adaptability above everything else.
Resilience and adaptability for an unknown future. That is definitely a powerful thought to end on. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive today.
My pleasure.
We really hope you feel more informed, maybe a bit more empowered, and ready to apply some of these insights as you continue to find your own path to well-informed, intentional parenting.